So it's just a little after 11 Central or 11 Eastern, 10 Central. So appreciate everybody joining us today. We are going to talk about community outreach. Um, you might be wondering, CU Audit and Compliance Group, what in the world they have to do with community outreach? Well, our presenter today, Shea Brown, was actually my roommate in college. And Shea actually won a very prestigious award from CUNA Mutual very recently in March. So I thought what better opportunity would be for two college roommates to join a webinar and see how it goes. So they might not let us do any more webinars in the future, but at least we have one under our belt. So appreciate everybody joining today. And if you're watching this after the fact, we appreciate you tuning in as well. So just to give you a little information about Shea. Shea's background with this great picture that he provided with us. Shea's pretty much like me. He's the credit unions is the only industry that he's ever been in. Excuse me. These West Tennessee allergies are getting to me. Mm-hmm. So, yeah, 15 years, started at Guardians Credit Union way back in the day in South Florida, West Palm Beach. And then, kind of worked his way up and went to Leaders Credit Union in 2017. Shea currently serves as Director of Community Impact for Leaders, doing over 50 educational sessions each year. That's a lot. So what do you do, one a week or something?
Yeah, we did 63 last year, so some weeks more than one a week. So
good grief. Well, you'll have to tell us all about them in a minute.
Yes, sure will.
And then kind of the reason why I wanted to invite Shea on the program was that Shea was honored by CUNA Mutual as the Business Development Professional of the Year. So there's only one of those a year, I guess, right, Shea?
That's right. Yeah, just one. It's a very long title, but I was glad to be honored and nominated by my coworkers here at Leaders. So it was a nice surprise.
Nice surprise. So that's a big weight you have to carry for a year. Do you get like a trophy you get to carry around like if you win a tournament or something like that?
It is. It's a nice little I don't know what it's made out of, but it's pretty heavy. That's the first thing I said when I accepted the award on stage. I was like, man, this thing is pretty heavy, but it is on my desk to be shown. So I'm just grateful for the honor and being chosen by the committee at through the Marketing and Business Development Council through CUNA. So,
well, good deal. Shea, do you want to add anything else to your background about you before we begin this program?
I'll just say I probably don't look this red all the time. I think the background plus the fact that I was outside most of the day yesterday in the sun, working a golf tournament, raising some funds for a local organization here as a part of some community outreach. So there's our first, I guess, piece of information. But anyway, no, I think that covers it.
Nah, well, sounds good. Well, I'll can't forget about Shep. 11 months old.
Yes, we have our 11-month-old. He'll be, let's see, 2 days. He'll be 11 months. So we're planning our first birthday party for June. So it went by fast.
That's what they say. You don't actually believe it till it actually happens to you. So.
That's right. Mm-hmm.
All righty. Well, just a couple of the topics that Shea wants to talk about today. Just we're gonna be very informal here. So if anybody has a question, feel free to enter it into the chat. We'll be happy to answer them as we go. This is going to be more of a Q&A session instead of Shea presenting and stuff like that. So just two college roommates talking along and trying not to get fired out or trying to get invited back next time. So but just the areas of the discussion that we'll talk about will be teaching some financial education classes. As you remember, Shea talked about teaching over 60 last year, so one a week. So he's going to give us some points and tips about that. And just discussing advisory boards in different markets. We'll go into depth about that. Member appreciation days. So lots of questions about that. So very interested about that. Some chamber civic, local community involvement, and then that SHRM, so what risk or human resources stuff like that.
Yes,
Resource
Society for Human
Management.
Resource Management. Mhm.
Yes. So, and this, then at the end, we'll talk about some educational foundations, scholarships, grants, just how to better reach our community, how to, grow our membership base, how to get more, members coming to the credit union. As just from the auditor standpoint, more members means more money, means more loans, means more income. So, kind of
That's right.
drill that down. All right. The first area of discussion is, teaching financial education. So, if somebody is new to, teaching financial education, where would you start?
Well, I think that's kind of the backbone of credit unions. We are financial educators, as a not-for-profit financial cooperative. It's really our job to really serve the consumers and members that are our members, and with financial education to help them, become financially well. And so we start with the basics. I mean, we start from the beginning, and talk about savings. There are programs out there that credit unions can pay for that provide, materials or presentations or, um, you know, different, uh, you know, forms that go along with a program that you can pass out to people. But really, what we do is just start with the basics, talk about saving, budgeting, and we move on from there. So last year internally, we kind of developed our own little, um, I guess, series of like webinars or in-person sessions where we start with talk about saving and budgeting. We talk about debt management and getting out of debt, those type of things. We talk about, first-time home buying if someone's never bought a home, retirement and investments. And so we kind of go to that series, and I guess that goes into the next one. What do we teach, and who do we teach? So, I think I was at the CUNA Marketing and Business Development Conference back in March, receiving that award, and the director of the National Credit Union Foundation was one of the speakers, and she said, their goal and their kind of purpose and mission of the foundation is financial well-being for all, and that it is attainable. And so that's what we teach: financial wellness. What is that? What does it look like? It's being able to cover day-to-day expenses. When that appliance or something happens with the car, it's always the house to the car. Something happens where you've got to shell out some money to fix something with the car or an appliance at the house, the AC unit, whatever. Being able to tackle those expenses, those short-term emergencies head on, being able to plan for your financial goals and for the future. And so we teach financial wellness, financial well-being for all, and that it is attainable, that anybody in any situation can be financially well. And we try to talk about different steps to get there.
Gotcha. It's
Who do
not
we
like the
teach?
Dave Ramsey course, is it?
It's not. We do rely on some of the material that he has. There's a book that we read by one of his personalities, or actually our whole team at Leaders read it, called Everyday Millionaires. And it was actually a study that his firm or company did, that they interviewed 10,000 millionaires, which means not that they necessarily had $1 million in their checking account, but they had $1 million net worth. So they interviewed 10,000 Americans, how they got there, what they did. And so there are some things we pull from that to say, hey, these were everyday people, accountants, hey, accountants, hello, engineers, teachers, just everyday, white and blue collar folks that were able to really have that $1 million net worth. So we do use some things from different financial experts or resources out in the community or out in America. But it's not all the 7 baby steps or whatever.
Create a budget is number one, I think, or something like that.
That's what we would say too.
Yeah. So got to live within your means, basically the gist of it, right?
That's right.
Don't go crazy. Don't go crazy.
Mm-hmm.
So, all right. So, we talk about, what you're teaching, but, how do you get involved? Who do you actually teach?
So our credit union, we were started and founded by teachers. So we have a passion for educators and students really in our community. And so it's a range. We'll talk to whoever will listen to us. And that's whether that's students in a classroom, we'll go into classrooms. We have a lot of relationships with local school systems and individual schools. And so we'll supplement material in different classes and teach a class. We may host a financial reality fair, which I've hosted through the league in Florida when I worked there, and also up here through the credit union. And so we'll teach kids, we'll teach seniors. There was a local place here that's kind of it's not an assisted living, but it's like a senior living community, and they were having a senior citizen day, and we were able to provide some financial education for the senior population. So it's a wide range from elementary students all the way up to seniors and retirees.
Yeah, that's teaching two totally different things there to seniors in college or elementary school kids, then all the way up to senior living, not senior living, but you know what I mean as well. So
Yeah,
big
exactly.
big range. So you got a wide variety of topics. So
That's right.
why is everything that we just talked about important?
I think it goes back to, like I said, about the mission of credit unions. Our purpose really is a not-for-profit, and so it's really a part of our DNA. I think, most credit unions, if not all, are really concerned about financial well-being of their members and the community, and so that's really important to us. Is it's a part of our mission. We want our members to be financially well and healthy, and if our community becomes more financially well and financially healthy, that lifts us all up. And so I think that's why it's so important, because it can, if we're financially healthy, we can help others become financially healthy, and that helps our whole community and our world.
All right, I got a softball question for you. I didn't let you know this one. So if you're talking about being financially healthy, that means people don't need loans. And how is the credit union going to survive if they don't need loans?
That's right, and that's kind of a interesting question, since we are at a credit union. We teach about getting out of debt, but we also provide debt, right? We provide home loans, we provide auto loans,
Yeah.
things like that. And I think typically a lot of times we say in credit unions, we're providing lower rates than other means. A lot of credit unions may provide uh, those payday alternative loans where a member or potential member doesn't have to go to a title loan place or a cash express payday lender. They can come to the credit union for a short-term dollar loan. So I think that there are ways that we can help those who will need help, that can receive a lower rate. We can refinance a higher rate loan at a lower rate and save people money that way. And so hopefully getting them out of the cycle where I got my auto loan, or I got my home loan or my mortgage, and I know after I pay those off, I'll be out of debt. So I hope that answers the question a little bit.
Absolutely. Sorry to give you a question we didn't prepare for, but
No, that's okay.
that's what we're here for, right? But yeah, so I think everybody's always going to have to borrow money. Home loans, everybody wants a home. You're always going to have to borrow for that, but it's kind of the goal to get out of debt quickly and stuff like that. So you're always
And borrowing responsibly. We don't want to get people into loans that they don't need, or overextend members or potential members. So that's something we all need to look at too in our own credit unions.
Exactly. Everybody has a credit card, so always consolidating the credit card into a signature loan and stuff like that's always a good thing, more responsibly and stuff like that as well.
Something with an end date, that's for sure. That
That's
makes
right.
it easier. It's going to be paid off at this time.
It's always good to have an end goal in mind. And when you see an end date, it's always, it always helps the mind think I'm going to get there soon enough.
That's right.
All right. Next topic is advisory boards in various different markets. So, how has this helped your community outreach?
So we've had these advisory boards for, I guess, maybe 6 or 7 years. Started before I came to Leaders, but it first started as a way to engage the next generation. So millennials specifically in our main market, which is here in Jackson, Tennessee. And it expanded to our other markets as well, because we were opening some other branches in different markets, and even bigger markets in the Memphis area. That's a totally different city and area than Jackson. And so our advisory boards were designed to help us understand our different communities and kind of give us an idea of what's going on in each market, because we're not necessarily boots on the ground every day in Memphis or in a different town or a different city. And so we engaged with some members of these communities to help tell us what's going on in each market, what are the needs, what's the feedback that they're receiving from the credit union or of the credit union. So that really has helped us to be involved in different things and kind of develop unique ways of promoting the credit union in different markets, especially where we may be new or we may have only have one branch, whereas our town we're headquartered in, we have 5 branches. So that's kind of helped us in that regard.
Gotcha. Do they kind of lean you toward like the new services of, different things like we see this bank or credit union has this service, we would love to be able to have that service or something like that.
Yeah, definitely. So, going along with what they do, they are not only a liaison to the community and really a next generation, giving us feedback about that, but also a lot of our advisory boards have been kind of our test market, where if we're developing a new product or service, or if they see something or are aware of something at another financial institution, they'll tell us, hey, what about this? What about this savings option? Or what about this with our mobile app or something like that? And so those are the feedback they bring to us, not only about our service, but different products that we can look into and say, okay, yes, this is actually coming down our pipeline with our provider. We're going to launch that soon, or no, this is something we need to look into and maybe see if it's an option for us. So they give us great feedback. They've helped name accounts. They've helped help us develop and give us feedback on our podcast. They've helped us with, like I said, community involvement in the different areas. So there's a lot of things that they've been able to do for us and help us out with.
Good deal. So I think you talked about this. It's just, different members of the community, different backgrounds, different ages and everything like that, trying to get a wide range of people, trying to, see what your members want and, how to serve them the best.
Exactly. They're folks who are involved in their community. They don't have to be a member of Leaders to apply to serve on the board, but they do have to become a member to continue serving. So our board members do have to become a member of Leaders, and we do that on purpose because we want them to go through that process and give us feedback about, I joined online, or I joined in the branch, or I called over the phone and had an experience, and we want that feedback from our advisory board members too. So involved in the community, very active with providing feedback and wanting to be intentional with that. And, we've had some that hadn't really been, I guess, users of their financial institution. It was kind of just, I get my direct deposit, I use my debit card, but hadn't really engaged with them. And so we've had the several board members who have become more engaged and really understanding more about credit unions specifically and our credit union. So that's been great to have that feedback as well.
So that's kind of a sign of the times. A lot of people these days don't even want to go into a branch. So,
right.
Find different ways to meet those people, serve their needs, and so.
And it's also been surprising because we have some younger board members, but some of them still enjoy going to a branch, or we have some that have always took a check into a branch and had never used mobile check deposit. And then once they discovered mobile check deposit, like, wow, this is life-changing, and it's just, if this one advisory board member didn't know how to do that, how many of our other members don't know how, and what kind of education, what kind of marketing, what kind of material can we provide to help other, members know how to use our services and what they really do. So it's been helpful.
Yeah. So off the wall question, but off kind of going back to that. So how do you let the members know about that? How do we make the members aware of that? If, one advisory board member didn't know, there, like you said, there's a lot of other members that don't know. So how do you make them aware of what you do and how you do it?
Yeah, I think, I could be wrong about this. I don't work directly in marketing, but I think I heard the stat, like you have to see something like 7 times for it to like stick or something like that. So I think just getting that information out in all of our channels, whether it's on our website, on our mobile app, on social media, if your credit union does a newsletter, if you're able to send out emails or email newsletters, things like that. So all those different touch points, being able to um, have that available for members to consume whatever way they want to consume it. And then also, if there's a tutorial, whether that tutorial video comes with the service that you're receiving, or if you can create one, I think that's a great way to get people involved too. And having your branch staff, we have some of our staff in our branches designated as digital champions. So they're the digital champion of the branch, and they are not necessarily more trained, but they have the most experience with our digital services. And if any member comes in, they can help them get signed up for it, show them how it works on their mobile app, and with remote check deposit, for instance. But for any digital service like that, they can really help them get started with that, and kind of educate them about how it works and how to use it.
Sounds great. Last question regarding the topic.
Mm-hmm.
What do you do if you're a credit union in a single SEP or single community base where you don't really have the various different markets that other larger credit unions might have?
I think that's a great question. And in many of our markets where we have a smaller presence, we do rely on our SEGs to provide us that feedback. And so several of our advisory board members may be representatives or ambassadors, as you might say, from our SEGs, or our employers that we serve. So that's a great way to even deepen those relationships with SEGs, either in a single market or additional markets. So if you have a single SEG or single community, I think it's a no-brainer to me to be able to deepen those relationships and build those relationships with your SEG or with your community by involving more people. The more people that can be involved with the credit union, the more that others can become aware of it, the more you can share more information. And so I think, if you just have one market or a single sponsor group, then I think it'd be great to start an advisory board. And it can be as, laid back as just inviting them in for lunch or meeting with them outside the credit union for coffee and just talking about, what they see or what they understand about the credit union or don't understand about the credit union, and then just providing that feedback. I think is great.
Absolutely. So, the more people get involved, the more people talk, and that just kind of the multiplier effect,
That's right. The word of mouth spreads. So it'll be helpful either way.
Oh yeah. I think word of mouth is one of the best marketing tools that anybody has, and it's totally free. So
that's right.
The next topic is Member Appreciation Days. So kind of just give us a little gist of what Leaders does for Member Appreciation Days.
Yeah, so it said, your question was, are these like annual meetings? And I have to ask, it depends on what your annual meeting is like, because some are smaller, more intimate, some are big to-dos. And we've had virtual meetings for the past few years, as well as I'm sure a lot of credit unions after the pandemic. But Member Appreciation Day is just a day to, show our love and appreciation to our members. So I think leaders may have done this in the past, but I know when I first started, we were celebrating 60 years. And so we had a big celebration of our 60th anniversary, and we paid for general admission tickets to the local baseball team here in Jackson, Tennessee. What was it, a single A or double A affiliate or something like that at the time?
Double A, rest in peace, Jackson Generals.
Double A. Yeah, we don't have that same status now, but we do have a team that's come in. But anyway, so we paid that general admission for our members. We got T-shirts. We set up a booth there, and we're able to give out swag and just interact with our members. Had a photo booth so people could take pictures. So it was a fun time where we did that. And we did also another one where we tried to engage our other markets, like I was saying, where we have, members that may be an hour or so away in a different area. So there was like a museum and kind of heritage park about an hour away where we had a branch and several members. And so we paid for general admission for members there on a day. And we were set up there. We had a table, had a booth, photo booth, everything. Our staff were all in t-shirts and interacting with our members, just thanking them for their membership and for coming out to the Member Appreciation Day. So I think the last time at this like museum, Heritage Park, it's called Discovery Park of America up here in West Tennessee, we had, I think they had a total of maybe close to 1,500 guests that day, and 1,100 of those were credit union members. So it was a big time. We had a lot of folks that came out, family, friends, and enjoyed the day with us.
Gotcha. So these are kind of trying to get away from the credit union, not hosting it inside the credit union. Is that what I'm hearing?
In these cases, yeah, I think we'll talk maybe about that in some of the next questions. But yeah, in these cases, yeah, we were outside of the credit union and supporting not only community and in both cases a select employee group of ours, but just having a fun day out in the community with our members and also those who weren't our members. So they saw all this happening and saw big leaders set up and everything, so they could ask questions and learn more about us too. So that was also kind of word of mouth, free marketing as well.
Gotcha. Had somebody set up on iPads getting in new members as they come through the gate, right?
Well, that's definitely an option if they were interested.
I'm joking. So I think you kind of talked about this, but how often would you recommend these things occur?
Yeah, I think like annual meetings, for us, it's been annually. We didn't have the baseball game and the museum or Discovery Park back, in the same year. We kind of rotated those one year, one the next, and kind of in our case, we're trying to rotate our different markets to have a different event in a different spot every year. Members from other areas can come to that event if they want. But I would say annually or maybe 1 to 2 a year if it's going to be a big celebration like that.
Gotcha. So from an accounting standpoint, make sure you accrue for it. Make sure you have a budget. Make sure you budget, as we talked about in financial education. So
that's right.
We're bringing it all together. So we're talking about Appreciation Day. So how do you make members feel appreciated that may never go into a branch?
Yeah, so this is a great question, and I think there's lots of ways that we can do that. We have greeting cards that we send out. So anytime a call center agent is taking a call over the phone and it pops up in our core system, this member's birthday is coming up or just had a birthday, or it shows their member join date. We've got some greeting cards we've come up with where we can send them a card. Happy birthday. Saw it was your birthday. Hope you have a happy birthday from Leaders Credit Union. Or, you've been a member with us for 20 years. We just want to thank you for your membership. Stick a card in the mail. I think those little touch points are what's going to make the big difference. We even see, so our marketing team, monitors our social media accounts, and sometimes people will comment about leaders. Someone may ask a question, what's the best place for a auto loan in Jackson, Tennessee? Or, what's the best financial institution, bank, or credit union in my area? And, people will comment and they'll say, this place, Leaders Credit Union, whatever. And we look at that and we like to share and comment and appreciate that. But we may send a note to somebody who shared positive feedback about leaders to someone who is asking about, a financial institution that they want to choose. So I think cards, emails, virtual invites to things, social media, really trying to engage members on social media, I think are great ways to also still make them feel appreciated.
I like the little touch points about, birthday cards and stuff like that, because, cards are cheap. You can buy packs of hundreds, 200s, 500s, and postage is 60 cents. So it's not like costing the credit union a lot of money, and it's also something that the member will appreciate, that they feel like the credit union cares. So just something small like that can go a very long way.
That's right.
So we talked about having budgets, accruing for it, and stuff like that. So what do you do if you don't have a large budget for the items like this?
Well, that goes back to, I think, what you mentioned about some in-branch days. I know many credit unions participate in things like International Credit Union Day in October, where, we may have a gift card drawing or a raffle, or we may provide, some little snacks or breakfast or refreshments in our branches. I think anything like that is great to celebrate. Not only does it bring awareness to credit unions and what we do, but it can also just, help to appreciate our members. There's, your credit union's anniversary. We started 50 years ago on this date. Celebrate with us. Stop by the branch, or, uh, come in for some refreshments. Those things, buying some drinks or snacks or hosting a gift card drawing. Those things aren't, expensive and can be done, maybe could be once a year, could be once a quarter for different things. I know credit unions may do dress up days for different nonprofits or events that are happening. We're wearing jeans today in this special t-shirt to raise money for the Cancer Society, or whatever the case may be. So little things like that, I think, are still very beneficial. Brings awareness to the credit union, brings awareness to a nonprofit or a group you're working with at your credit union, and can be those smaller dollar item that can still help your outreach to the community.
No doubt. So it's always good to make the members feel that, the credit union is part of them. So, I've seen Blue Jean Friday, if employees donate to some charity or foundation, they get, wear blue jeans on Friday. I've seen a credit union have like a national shred day where they just bring like shredded out, and, all the
Good
members
idea.
can bring all their documents that they want shredded out. It's just, different credit unions have different ways of, doing stuff like that. So, I don't think there's any bad ideas out there. So as long as you're trying to move the credit union forward, grow your membership base and everything like that, I think you're, doing a good job.
That's right.
All right, kind of talking about chamber civic and some human resource involvement. So, basically how do you get involved with, the chamber or civic or any other type of organizations like that?
Yeah, so I'm sure most areas, whether it's by county or city, has a chamber of commerce that is really there to promote the businesses in the area and bring in new business and support existing business. So finding that group, contacting them, and discussing membership. Obviously, they all have membership dues, so that's something to think about. But in many cases, those can be affordable, sometimes based on the number of members, sometimes the number of assets. A lot of times, some bigger chambers may classify all of us financial institutions into one category. So whether we're a bank or a credit union, we've got to be in that financial institution category. But in some cases, we may be able to qualify for the nonprofit category, because credit unions are not for profit. So just checking in your local area and seeing what the membership dues are is great. And being involved in what the chamber offers. So a lot of times chambers have ambassador programs where these certain individuals, if you're named an ambassador, you go out to the ribbon cuttings and you attend the breakfasts and you attend the business after hours and things like that. And that's just a way for you to get your name and your credit union out there, that you're involved in all the different areas and could be potential partners or accounts for you in the future if you're dealing with these other businesses as well.
Kind of a free way to market too, because if you join the chamber, I'm sure they have Facebook pages and everything like that they'll, Leaders Credit Union is now a member of the Madison County Chamber. Well, I know you're probably already are, but
Sure.
the example, then they send it out on their social media channels. It reaches more people. So even though you pay the membership dues, it's kind of another way to market the credit union as well. So.
Right. Well, and that's what you get for as a part of your membership. So advantages is, like you're saying, all the publicity, promotion, networking, and advertising. So you're exactly right. Our local chamber here, anytime we have news, leaders ranked in this category, or we added a new, you know, person to our team, or these people were promoted, or we're opening a new branch, or we added this service. Any type of press that we have, we send it to our chambers and they send it out. They can send it out via email to their membership, which is hundreds of people. They can put it on their social media. They can list it on their website under their news. So it's just another way that we're able to get publicity and promotion. And so, that's a huge advantage of joining the chamber, because they're there to support you. They're your business, and they can only share so much as what you give them. So being sure to take advantage of what they offer. If the chamber says, here's your membership and you get, we're going to share your news for you, and we're going to post on social media for you twice a year, and all those things, you're going to have a listing with your name and logo on it in their directory, being sure that you take advantage of that, and provide your logo, provide your accurate information, provide news when you have it, so that the chamber can share what they have. And if there's an opportunity to be involved as an ambassador or some type of representative with the chamber, that's a great opportunity too.
Absolutely. So kind of talking about advantages, kind of have to go to the disadvantages now. Do you know of any disadvantages besides, probably the initial expense that comes about by joining?
Yeah, that's the only thing I could think of. I don't think of, any disadvantages. We're involved. I think, gosh, we're probably in 10 or so chambers, based on our various markets. But I would say, the one disadvantage could be if the budget allows, because there are membership dues for each one. And so just trying to think strategically about which chamber you may want to be involved in. In one county that we have one branch in, there are 3 chambers in the county. There's one for the greater county, and then there's 2 city-based chambers. And so we're only a member of the chamber that we have the branch in that city. So, that makes most sense for us, because being involved in all 3 of those chambers doesn't make as much sense. But if the budget allows, I think it's a great opportunity to share about the credit union and be involved in the community.
And you have to have staff to go to all those different chamber meetings and everything else too. So.
That's right. Yes. If you have the staff that can attend or be involved in the chamber, not that it's required, it's just a great opportunity to be more involved.
Absolutely. If you're going to join, you might as well go to the meetings and, fully participate in everything.
That's right.
All right. Talking about the human resources, that might be something that not many people are familiar with. So kind of, talk a little bit about it, and how do you get involved with, human resource management?
Yeah, so SHRM or SHRM is the Society of Human Resource Management. It is a national organization, and it has local chapters. So like a Rotary Club or something like that, but there are local SHRM chapters all over the country. And so you can get involved in your local chapter, which is all HR professionals. And a lot of times in a community engagement or outreach position, or your credit union may call it business development, seg development, whatever, we're really reaching out to a lot of HR professionals or HR managers, HR directors. And so that's just a place where you get access to many HR folks all in one place. And so, for instance, after this webinar, I've got my monthly West Tennessee SHRM chapter meeting. And so we'll have 30, 40 individuals for a lunch meeting. They have a time of networking, have lunch, and then a presentation by a HR professional who shares more information about employment law or different things associated with HR. So, that's a great way that I'm able to see a lot of our contacts at our select employer groups, able to make new contacts and really be involved with those folks. And so a lot of times you do have to have a national membership, which is annual. So that is paid per individual. There may be local chapter dues, which are very minimal, but they're annual as well. And so that's a great thing to be involved in, to just interact with other companies that may be your select employee groups or potential select employee groups. There might not be a chapter close by you. I was at like I mentioned, at the CUNA Marketing and Business Development Conference. There was an area and a credit union that didn't have a SHRM chapter by them, and so they actually started their own HR group, and they just invited local HR professionals to their credit union and had them for lunch and had a guest speaker and talked about a topic that was related to human resources, whether that was about an employment law situation or something else. But they just did it themselves, and so that's something you could do as well. or just searching and asking maybe the local chamber or something if there's another HR group that meets, because it may not be a SHRM affiliated group, but they may have an HR group that meets, at a different location or area or something like that. So those are great organizations to be involved in, I'd say.
Gotcha. So, if you're going to get into a credit union, you got to go through HR. So, if you're going to get into a SEP, a different, company to, allow them to be members, you're going to have to go through the human resource department to get all payroll set up and everything else. So, yeah, great place to start.
Yeah, that's typically what we do. So it's a good access point for us.
Last question here. Any other organizations? We talked about Chamber, Civic, and Human Resources, but are there any other ones that come to mind you would recommend trying to look into and join?
I think the three things I'll mention. CUNA obviously has different boards, or I guess groups you can be involved in: marketing and business development, HR. There's executive level. So many options there. League involvement, if your state has a league, you can be involved with their groups there, or any passion project you have. If you're really passionate about education and there's a foundation locally that supports that, that might be something to consider as well. So just whatever you're passionate about. And then also credit union wide, there are opportunities for individuals to be involved in the credit union movement through their chapters and their leagues and through CUNA. So that's my other recommendations.
Yeah. Young Professionals Group, right? Shout out to the
marquee. That's right.
All right. In our last topic, just kind of educational foundation, scholarships and grants and stuff like that. So I know Leaders has a foundation, so I want to give you the little opportunity to talk a little bit more about it.
Yeah, we started our Leaders Education Foundation in 2019. As I mentioned, we were founded by teachers and educators, so it was just a way for us to really give back in a bigger way to educators and students in our community. So that's really the focus, is education, and we provide scholarships and grants to students and teachers in our community.
Absolutely. So that kind of goes into the next question. How has, is this impacted your community outreach?
So, like I said, it's really allowed us to do more. Before we had the foundation, Leaders Credit Union was offering scholarships to students. I know many credit unions offer a scholarship in honor of a board member or past president or something like that. But we wanted to do a little more. And when we visit all these schools that we go to through our field of membership, it was a way that we can really interact more with students and teachers. Like, hey, we've got these scholarships available. We do grants for educators for their classrooms, $1,000 classroom grant. So it's really given us a broad stroke to be able to impact our community in more areas, not just in our headquarters, but in all the communities we serve, where, a teacher applies for a grant, that teacher wins, and that really, supports that community and that school system. And then having students from across our footprint being able to win scholarships, and it's allowed us to do even more in our community. It's membership based, and so it's not just funded through Leaders, but it's through memberships and also through community sponsorships. We had charter sponsors that helped us form the foundation, outside companies that joined with us. And so all these folks coming together, outside companies, members, Leaders employees, and Leaders Credit Union, it's a collective bringing us all together to really further our impact.
Gotcha. So Leaders pretty much funded it, but there's also stuff from different companies, your SEP groups and stuff like that can also make donations, and I'm sure members can make donations, or employees or whoever can make donations as well.
That's right. Absolutely.
Good deal. So I kind of scholarships and grants, you kind of talked about that, giving scholarships to seniors and grants to teachers that might need stuff, but kind of wanted to give you the opportunity to discuss any more information that you'd like to regarding that.
Yeah, one additional scholarship we have started offering is a workforce readiness scholarship. So for those students who maybe they're not going to a traditional four-year college, they may be going into a certificate program or a workplace training program, something like that, where they're working on the line, but also having training during the day or something like that. So we offer a workforce readiness scholarship. In our state, most of the tuition is paid for by state programs for students, but they may have to buy I was talking to a nursing recruiter for a nursing program, getting a CNA or LPN, something like that, and they have a $700 textbook. Now, $700 textbook's not covered by the tuition, so they've got to buy that, or some of these welding programs or advanced manufacturing, they may have to buy tools or supplies to go along with that. So those workforce scholarships really provide funding for those extra costs that aren't covered by tuition, or if they need it for tuition, they can use it for that. But that was a need in our area, and I'm sure in many places the workforce is still needing workers to do a lot of the jobs that are available through manufacturers in different places. So we wanted to be a part of that and help our workforce here in West Tennessee.
Sounds great. Looks like y'all are doing big things, and I'm sure more big things are to come soon. That kind of wraps up all, everything that we had, discussed that we were going to talk about. So does anybody have any questions for Shea? Kind of put his contact information up here. I didn't put a question slide, but, Shea'd be happy to answer any questions that you have, or feel free to call him. I'm sure he'd love to talk to you about anything that was discussed, or email him, or connect with him on LinkedIn. So give a minute
Absolutely.
for, any questions to come up. Then if there are no questions, then we might, just end the webinar with, before the top of the hour.
And then they've got my information there. So if anyone watches it later, they can reach out to me at any time. I'm happy to chat.
Absolutely. So, what does the CCUFC, is that Credit Union Community Financial Counselor or something like that designation?
Yes, it's the Certified Credit Union Financial Counselor, the FICEP designation that you can receive through CUNA, and I think a lot of local leagues provide that. So that's the financial counselor certification.
Gotcha. So you have to get that to teach all the 60 financial education classes a year.
I mean, you don't necessarily have to, but my team and I all are certified. That kind of gives us a little more credibility, I think, when we're going out and teaching these things. We've got some more background knowledge on a lot of different financial topics, so it's been helpful.
Absolutely. You don't, of course, you don't have to have it. It just, looks good. It helps you. I'm sure you used a lot of the stuff that you got during the course to, as you teach other people. But
that's right. That's right.
So it doesn't look like we have any questions. So we'll end it here. I appreciate you joining me, Shea. Then if anybody wants to talk to Shea about anything, you have his contact information there. Appreciate everybody joining us today, and that might watch the webinar at a future date. So
thanks for having me. Thanks for the invitation. Appreciate it.
We'll do it again if we don't get kicked out. All right. Everybody have a good day.
Bye-bye.